let's take a look at what should come next here. So, the thing with this one that's way up north is that that would absolutely be the furthest north we've been in Toussaint thus far, and there are a bunch of question marks around here. So it does beg the question, if we go in this direction, is it worth checking out some or even all of these question marks? That is tempting, because it feels like in some ways that would be convenient while we're in the area, yes, but at the same time, given how we're on 159 out of 160 weight, that means that we're going to be pretty handicapped in terms of what we can pick up. So, I think for that reason, unfortunately, now is probably not the time to go out of our way to try to loot a bunch of stuff. So I think we keep it at the minimum for now. In which case, why don't we go... Maybe we go bottom, then right, then this one at the top. And we'll refrain from checking out these other places. Something like that. If we go back to town, I assume you mean, like, Beauclair itself. There's a quest for Witcher gear. Have we... We went to the notice boards. We didn't find it there, but is there... Oh, from the merchants tend to sell those maps and whatnot, right? That might be worth doing before we go running around these areas, because oftentimes those are pretty remote sections where you find those Witcher diagrams, and so when we're out in the remote areas of Toussaint, like this northern area here, then it would make some sense to at least know where those things are so we can stop back, or so that we can pick them up while we're in the area. That makes some sense. We do have one. We have for, what's it, the, Griffin School, I think. We may only have Griffin School, though. Let's see. Yeah, so this is Griffin specifically. At the moment, it's sending us over here. But that's it. But presumably, I mean, Griffin School is obviously one of the schools we've seen thus far, but then there's also Wolf, Bear, and Cat. Presumably they're Grandmaster versions of all those types of gear, right? And we just don't have the information about those yet. Master. Master, find the Grandmaster Smith Lonfarge so you can make use of his services. Where's this dude? Is he in Beauclair? He is. I swear we talked to this guy, or at least we certainly talked to these people here. Okay. Alright, so it might be worth stopping off there first, you're saying? I mean, there's no reason why we have to check out all these question marks and quests here at the moment. You can always come back for them. There is a fast travel spot that's not too far away, so it's not out of the question. And, you know, if it does ultimately make it more efficient to go through and find all those pieces of Witcher gear, then why not, I suppose? Otherwise, we are going to have to go back when there's not really anything remaining in this area. But yeah, we do all... That's the thing, is we do also need to sell some stuff. So it makes sense on a few levels. So, you know, it takes a little bit of going out of our way, obviously, but I think it is perhaps worth it on this occasion. Because we're just limited a little bit in what we can do here. So why not do ourselves a favor here? Make a point of heading back here, and this guy's like right in the middle of all the fast travel spots. Don't think we spent as much time here, or at least like up through this section. So let's go to this fast travel spot. You can also see, could potentially have him repair our gear, because we were talking previously about how Yeah, we could use some repairs. We have enough repair gear on us that obviously that's not so much of an issue, but it's nice to save some of that stuff so that we can use the optimal repair kit when we're out in the wild as well. Okay, so we even... Not sure if we've been to this herbalist either. May not have.
Fond of shortcuts? Be careful you do not trample any herbs.
Sorry! Do not trample the herbs. Oh, why hello there, sir. Good evening to you. How are you? Might I interest you in purchasing some herbs?
Fond of shortcuts? Be careful. Welcome. Herbs freshly picked.
I don't think we've met this person before.
Whatever your heart desires.
I don't remember. Yeah, we've not played her. At Gwent, at least. And we have not talked to her about what she buys and sells. So yes, definitely a new person to us. Let's see. Ooh, and you know what? You were saying a while back that a potion of clearance would make some sense. So we recently got access to new skills on our skill tree. And we don't love our current skill setup, so I was thinking that we might need to go back to Novigrad to make this happen, but glad to see that it's here, and I think this is definitely a very convenient thing to pick up right now, so let's do it. We don't need 5 of them, I don't think. Let's just take one. And when we first saw it, it was extremely expensive, 1,000 crowns. Sounds like a lot, yes. Turns all ability points spent developing mutagens. Interesting. I did not realize those were going to be 2 separate things. I mean, this is not relevant to us yet, but it could be later on. Let's not buy one now because we may not need it, but we could make the case, maybe just buy it preemptively just in case, but I don't know that that's going to be necessary, so let's refrain. And we're not going to have much we can sell to you. You are specifically an herbalist. But we did just give you a ton of money, so there's perhaps something to be said for dumping some things on you now. We have a bunch of crafting-related items we could sell to you, because it's been a long time since we last dumped any of those, like, you know, selling 100 water essences for 2,100 crowns. Yeah, I mean, you can't even afford taking all those, but sure, take some of them. So, how about that, then? That's a good way of balancing things out. Bought something expensive, sold things that were more expensive. Made a profit. Nice. Now, let's take a quick look at the alchemy page. It's been a while since we were last here. Because we haven't really been picking up new alchemy recipes. Could make a white gull. Could actually make several white gulls. But, oh, look at this. Ancient Leshen decoction is now available to us. Each sign cast increases stamina regeneration for the remainder of the fight. Oh, that's pretty nifty. I like the potions that gain value or gain power over time, because that means that against bosses in particular, when it's going to likely be a very long fight, they can become very significant. So we focused on, or prioritized, using some of the attack damage boosting potions for that reason, and I think some healing potions for that reason. But yeah, not really anything along those exact lines for signs until this right here. So let's make it happen. That's cool. Then Doppler decoction. I mean, I still don't know if / when we'll ever get a Doppler mutagen. We can do dyes. Okay, interesting. They do fall under this category. Oh, and they do require, I believe these are white gull crafting materials, or crafting materials that require that you have white gull in order to make them. That means they're quite tricky to make in that case. But otherwise, the other ingredient should be, oh, straightforward, although sulfur is much easier. That does not require white gold. That used to drop from all of the wild hunt hounds, I think, and that's probably why we have so many of them. So yellow dye is fairly straightforward to make, and apparently those are the only 3 color dyes that we know how to make right now, but those might be the only, I mean, potentially only alchemy recipes that we're going to continue to pick up in the near future anyway. I was going to say only significant alchemy recipes. Then I thought to myself, well, is dye really significant to learn how to make? Maybe not. Maybe not. But anyways, let's play you at Gwent as well. Yeah, I think we have a decent amount of dyes right now, and again, we haven't used any yet, so it's not really urgent at the moment, but maybe at some point in time, like once we've done our Grandmaster Witcher armor, made all that, then we might experiment a bit more with seeing what color we want to make that stuff so that we can, you know, make our end game armor as cool as possible.
Herbs schmerbs. I had some Gwent, eh?
Yeah, I never liked herbs anyway. This entire business is just a front to fund my Gwent addiction. Alright, so, I think we used Skellige most recently. We have been using Skellige a lot. Maybe we switch things around a little bit for that reason. In which case, I think it's been a little bit since we did Scoia'tael. I think maybe we do Scoia'tael. We did recently pick up Skellige Storm, so I'm not sure that's really something we want to be adding to our deck for Scoia'tael unless we deliberately put all of our agile units in melee row. So I mean, there actually is some rationale for doing that. Wait, what? Why are neither Ciri nor Geralt nor Yennefer? But what? What happened? Did our deck get reset here? Why am I looking at the default Scoia'tael deck? But no, it's not quite the default Scoia'tael. What? Did we actually never put Geralt or Ciri in our Scoia'tael deck this entire time? Are you serious? What? We did not have these 5-strength Riot Brigade veterans. What happened to our Scoia'tael deck? Yeah, that was the other thing, is we were talking about how we could optimize our Skellige deck a little bit. And I think next time we do play Skellige, we will want to do that. Okay. I think we're better muster than that. But right now, it's just strange, because our Scoia'tael deck is horrendous. It got totally messed up, and I don't know why that happened. I don't know if there's like some button that can reset it to the default deck, but it's not quite the default deck, is the weird part. It's almost the default deck, but then it has like Dandelion and Contour of Dim, which obviously were cards that we got much later on, the Series Elf. So I don't know how that came across. Maybe I did something silly previously to make that happen, but if I did, then I don't know what it was. But anyways, we'll just take a second here to remake our deck a bit. Oh, I forgot, we recently got Shiru here, who's basically a dragon for the siege row, destroying the strongest unit if our opponent has 10 or more strength in their siege row. So that's a nifty card to add in, I think. And of course we have the heroes that for some reason got removed. Milva, who's great. Probably do want to add Olgierd, the cow. We still need more units. Okay. Well, we have more heroes. Definitely add the Edmund, definitely add the dragon. Could potentially exclude Triss. We do have some of the Gaunters in there at the moment, but not all of them, which is not really something you want to do. You want to go either all in or all out. We have obvious cards to remove at this. Oh, the Havocar Smugglers as well. Oh no, we have 3 of them. Right, they just technically go up separately. Do we have 3 of them, or do we only have 2 of them right now? 1, 2. There's the other. Okay, weird. But yes, we do have all of them. Not a huge fan of having 3 medics. I know in some ways the medics are Scoia'tael's biggest strength, or at least the quantity of medics is Scoia'tael's greatest strength, but when they have 0 strength themselves, then that's doesn't add a lot. So I think we dump a couple of them at least in order to thin our deck a bit, so to speak. And thought we had the Gaunters, right? Were the cards we were saying we probably wanted to put in. And that does put us right at the minimum number of units, which is probably about where we want to be. The only question would be, do we need 3 decoys? I'd argue probably not. We need 3 clear weathers? Oh my goodness, absolutely not. Oh, we were losing deliberately. That's why. That sounds vaguely familiar. I don't remember why we did that. Or there was some situation in which we wanted to deliberately lose. That does sound familiar. But, okay. Maybe a good thing that we took a second here to remake our Scoia'tael deck, because I can imagine a situation in which we did not remember that. Switch over to Scoia'tael, don't realize that it is suddenly a horrendous deck, and then we go into a match and lose it horrendously because we, well, gave ourselves the worst possible deck. Oh, it was the wedding, right? The wedding where we got the ears. Wow, that was a little while ago. Has it really been that long since we last used Scoia'tael? I think all the more reason for us to use it now. I think we're good to go now. Okay. Let's let them go first. Okay. See yourself, great. Cow, great. Gaunter, great. Don't want the other Gaunters. Let's dump that, and other than that, once we've done that, should be looking pretty good here, unless we get another Smuggler. We'll definitely dump you then. And we got Dandelion. Yeah, this works. This is very solid. Okay, they're gonna start with Dandelion. And... Thinking I'm gonna start with Saskia here. Just go hero to start things off, because next we're gonna want to do some of our musters, and we don't want to get every single muster unit destroyed at once. That would be pretty bad. Okay, so now that they have some musters out there, that should mean that... Let's see, what value do we have? Oh, we could also play the cow, of course. Yeah, like the Havokar Smugglers is not a great idea right now, because they would all get scorched simultaneously. So, but Gaunter should work. That would get us tied with 4 strength on a bunch of units between us and our opponent. Scorch would probably not be something they'd use against us, because it could hurt them just as much as it would hurt us. But we can delay a little bit longer, so let's play the cow now. Okay, now they go. Their spy. And delayed, I think, probably to the extent that we can delay unless we play Geralt here, but I don't really want to do that just yet. I'd like to save him if we can, so let's go with Gaunter. Bring out all the Gaunter darknesses. Okay, they have Ceres. It does hurt. But also, good gosh, that is... It's such a big play. However, boy, do we have the answer. Boy, do we have the answer. Okay, well, I don't know. What if we say just, like, break out a dragon right about now? Boom. Oh, what? We do not have Ermion. Does he... Is that a... Use Marjoram on this row? Interesting. I mean, you don't have any Berserkers out there at the moment, so it didn't actually do anything. But I do wonder if we'll be able to get Ermion if we win this match here. That'd be pretty nice. Oh, that's enough for you to take a 1-point lead here. That's unfortunate. Because all of our remaining cards are fairly big. We'd like to just get a little bit more strength out there now and not have to, you know, overcommit in round 1. I mean, do still have a muster unit, so ideally we'd play you before we play the Spy, but the Spy would be the best way to just kind of pass a little bit more time, or Geralt, but again, Geralt is 15 strength, so I'd like to save him if we can. But we may not really have much of an alternative here, or, well, I guess we can muster. It's a big play. It's 15 strength, same as Geralt. Actually, 15 that is doubleable with Dandelion, so let's go Geralt after all. Because Geralt is 15, but cannot get doubled by Dandelion. Okay, there go the Berserkers. And they still haven't passed us here, which is an interesting distinguishment, or an interesting place to find ourselves, because they've already played one more card than us. So if they want to win round one, they need to go 2 cards down, which is significant. However, if we let them win round one, then that means that we will have to win both round 2 and round 3, and Skelga's leader, or Skelga's faction ability, is very strong for round 3. So in some ways, what we'd like to do is win round 1 and round 2, and just never have it go to round 3. That way we can avoid what would mean, or their faction ability triggering, which would be them getting 2 additional cards from their graveyard back onto the playing field, and it's an advantage we'd rather they not get the chance to use. So, and again, anything we do here is going to be pretty big. Unless it's the spy and we just take our chances that we don't draw into the muster units. Which is becoming increasingly tempting. What leader ability did we go with? Double the range row. Well, and we do have a fair amount of stuff in the range row right now. In fact, right now, it would be better to do it now than it would be in any future round unless we draw into additional range cards. Because we have 12 strength in the range row versus the 10 strength we'll have with Milva. I think we do this. But it does make us very scorchable. But we would still be tied at least a little bit with them. Okay, so now we have a larger lead. And we're we played 2 fewer cards than them, although we did obviously just use our leader ability. Is their leader ability? Is that the mess with people's graveyards so they can't use medics? Yeah. So that's going to be a bit tricky with Yennefer at some point in time. But obviously Yennefer doesn't do anything right now, so there's no real way to counter that at the moment. We can go with the spy now, so I think we might as well. Because we no longer have... Oh no, we've not played the muster yet. For some reason I thought we played muster last turn. We did not. And again, we can just further extend our round 1 lead. Let's do it. And then, if they don't pass this turn, we will probably pass. Because this is a pretty huge lead here. Okay, they're decoying, so they're trying to basically undo this round, get themselves in a better position for round 2 or round 3. So now it is finally safe to play the spy, which we could do just to give ourselves one more turn in round 1 here, making sure that they don't try to win. Although I think at this stage, it's pretty safe to pass, but there's no reason not to go spy. We've got 2 heroes. Wow. Yeah, they do pass, as we probably expected them to do. And that means we will obviously pass as well now. And we have 2 card advantage, but no leader ability. Although, then again, we also have the Bovine Defense Force coming out. So in many ways, that's an additional card that we're benefiting from here. And we are absolutely going for the victory in round 2 here. We do not want this one to go to round 3. I'm just looking at what we could bring back with Yennefer. Dragon is most tempting at the moment. We'd like to wait until they get something to melee row first, ideally, so that we can trigger this torch or scorch ability. Looks like a torch as well, I suppose. But we may just do it early. Get a 7 strength unit out there just to avoid getting that shut off by their leader ability. Although they technically don't want to do it in round 2, because that means they would be messing with their faction ability in round 3. No, then whatever cards they play in round 2 would still go back in their graveyard at the end of round 2. They get them at the beginning of round 3. It still works. So, I mean, let's wait 1 turn before playing Yen, just to see if they happen to play anything in the melee row here. I mean, they don't have a lot of cards remaining. That goes in range. That means that, in all likelihood, their 2 remaining cards would need to both be in melee in order for us to be able to use the Dragon's Scorch ability and actually have it destroy something. So I think in that case, what we'll do here is we'll probably just use Yennefer, get the Dragon back, and just settle for it being only a 7 strength unit and nothing more. Yeah, I think Medic early at the very least makes a lot of sense. try to wait it out a little bit just to see if we could get some benefit out of it, but I mean, still a 7 strength unit, which is certainly something, especially because now they would need to get a pretty miraculous last card here in order for this to work. I mean, know they've already played Ceres, so they don't have that up their sleeve anymore. Okay, those will double each other, which is something, but it's already not even enough to catch up to us, which means play Milva. She doesn't have anyone to boost in the range row because the heroes won't get affected by it. And Dandelion, well, they pass because they just have their later ability and that doesn't really help them here. We've already won, but, you know, we'll throw down Dandelion, who will double some units here. And that gives us, ultimately, a pretty comfortable victory. And I'm hoping we get Ermion out of this one. Let us see. Crowns. And another Martyrum. Okay, so probably not quite as good. I'd say definitely not as good, because Ermion is basically just Martyrum plus a little bit of extra strength as well. But we'll find him somewhere, eventually.
A returning customer is a satisfied customer. Come, peruse and buy.
I did not mean to talk to you.
So long.
On the shortcuts. Be careful you do not trample any herbs.
There we go. Okay, now that we're out, I think our plan was to chat with this dude here. And by this dude here, I mean the dude who's actually in here. Who apparently we had not talked to previously. I know we spoke to an armorer and a blacksmith in here previously, but apparently this is the dude. I don't know. I think our sword we got from Ogierd might be a little bit better than the ones you have on display here, if I do say so myself.
Greetings.
A witcher from the School of the Wolf, here in Tucson. Greetings. I'm Lazar Lafargue.
Geralt of Rivia. Seem pretty enthused. Got a job for me?
Rather. Mind you, it's so
Expecting it more so be that he was expecting us to be a very big customer of his, because, well, it's our line of work.
And I, for years, sought diagrams for witcher armor of exceptional quality. Grandmaster level.
Heard of him. Never seen any, though.
Not true, but sure.
Not quite. For I've been lucky enough to learn that their holders came to Tucson. Alas, they then perished, but I know where. I just need a partner to help me retrieve them.
If you know where to look, why not get him yourself?
No
Probably
offense,
involves
but
fighting
I look
monsters.
like a rough-hewn adventurer. Besides, who would serve my clients while I roamed about seeking them? No, I
Fair
rather
point.
leave it to someone familiar with such matters. Bring me the diagrams, and from them I'll forge for you whatever you fancy.
Does sound nice. You saying this guy has the Dandelion card? Because we cannot play this guy at Gwent. It does not appear, which I'm surprised, quite frankly. So it seems like practically everybody who we can speak to in Tucson will be willing to play Gwent with us, but not this time round. Let's see what he has to buy and sell, though, because we do definitely want to sell some stuff.
What do you have on offer?
Okay, so, ooh, you have some shiny looking things, but let's at least get rid of... I was wondering if we might want to save the Ducal Guard officer boots and armor, maybe even trousers. Yeah, probably trousers as well. Just to see if we, like, do we want to have a full set of the guard captain gear? Or is that something that, and, you know, the purpose of that being putting it up in our house at Corvo Bianco? Or does that feel like, yeah, it's not quite special enough to be worthwhile? So I don't know. I forget. I mean, it is very similar looking to the armor that Damien, the actual Tucson Ducal Guard captain's armor, looks like. Surprise, surprise, given the name. Although I thought the coloration was a little bit different, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think it's actually a carbon copy. I think it is slightly different. But, this stuff is weighing us down. So one way or another, we need to get rid of it. It's just a matter of, do we hop back over to our house to stash this stuff? Or do we sell it here? I also don't know how rare it is the other thing. Like, if it grows on trees, then obviously it doesn't matter much. We can probably just dump it. But, Slizzard Trophy. As much as I like the Slizzard fight, and as cool as it would be to be carrying around a Slizzard Trophy, the chance to dismember is not that interesting. So I think we probably do sell this and just get a little bit of monies in return. Oh, in fact, well, I think I see the trousers here. Okay, so we know we can get the trousers again if we felt so inclined. Knight's Tourney boots? Those ones we actually got when we competed in the tourney? Because I saw these initially. These golden ones, I was like, cool, those look quite nice. And this as well. It's heavy armor, so we probably never wear it ourselves. But it does look quite nifty. Yeah, and the captain's armor is also here. Okay, so it does appear as though if we really like that armor, we could come back and get it on a later occasion if we really want to. Knight trousers, Knight Tourney trousers. Yeah, okay. What is... Oh, for a second I thought that was a human mask. I was like, what? Grapevine Blinder. Oh, that looks nifty as well. Yeah, just stylistically, there are some cool options here. Oh, look at this. Is that the kind of saddle we have in our inventory right now that I'm saying I don't love the color scheme of, but is at least kind of nice because it has a different style. It doesn't just look like a generic saddle. And that seems to potentially be the case with these as well. Oh, look at this. Speaking of inventory weight, this is better at giving us more inventory weight. And again, we've oftentimes gotten saddles and blinders and saddle bags from doing horse races, so there's a non-zero chance that there's some horse race out there that we could complete that we would get this for free if we were to succeed at. That's not out of the question, but I think in the interest of getting more inventory capacity as soon as possible, probably does make sense to just pay the 250 crowns for it. That's not a huge fee. So let's do that. And let's actually sell those other Ducal Guard Captain stuffs, because as it turns out, we now know we can definitely get that stuff back on a future occasion if we feel so inclined. So that's cool. Trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, again, we've got the vast array of riches breakdown at some point in time. Okay, do we have any? Oh, I was saying we potentially could use a repair. We repair equipped. That will cost us a fair bit, but I think it's probably worth it. At least on this occasion, it was looking pretty bad. Yeah, those were pretty cheap saddlebags, and I mean, getting good saddlebags is a pretty big deal. Oh, there was also a quest-related thing we can talk to him about. Let's just let's throw on the saddlebags now, before we forget, because that's definitely something we could forget about. And we could potentially even sell this saddle too. The reason why we were holding on to it was much for the same reason we were holding on to that armor, was we were thinking, maybe since it has cool aesthetics to it, and it, at the time, I thought it was a one-of-a-kind type thing. Seemed like we'll hold on to it, maybe stash it in our stash at home.
Those for Witcher armor.
And if we thought that we had a set of armor that looked better with that, then we could swap it over at some point in time. But again, knowing that now we could go back and buy it whenever, that does probably suggest that we don't really need to have it. I mean, it's not like... It's 5 weight, which is pretty significant. At least short term, obviously, if we go back and put in our stash at home, then it doesn't weigh anything. But, you know, we're not at home right now, so we'll do it. We'll sell it now, and, you know, if we want it on a future occasion, we'll pay a little bit of a premium to get it back, but so be it. You know, we'll live paying 251 crowns for it. That's not really a big deal. But let's see. Yeah, how did these diagrams wind up in Toussaint?
All these diagrams somehow wound up in Toussaint? How is that even possible?
That's
Toussaint was
impossible.
once home to Tien Sail, a legendary and now deceased elfin master armorer. Witches from all corners of the world came to him to forge their plate, their mail.
Heard about him. Supposed to have been the best.
And thus he charged a king's ransom for his work. Witches would take difficult, dangerous work to earn the coin to pay him. Some, alas, met with misfortune, and the diagrams they carried were left to rot with their earthly remains.
Got it. Find them, find the diagrams. But how can I know where to look for their remains?
As it happens, I learned my trade at Jensail's side. So I heard the stories of the missing witches firsthand. What he told me, well, that is what discouraged me from seeking the diagrams out myself.
Fair enough,
We
I
must
suppose.
strike a deal. I shall tell you all I know. In return, once you found the diagrams, you will let me draft a copy.
Tell us first about how you ended up being an apprentice to this master elven blacksmith slash armorer.
This elven master. How'd he end up taking a human for an apprentice?
Yeah, I have to imagine that stuff's
My
pretty awesome.
father forged armor. As a youngster,
You
I
finally get
helped
the
him,
gear
then
set
began
bonuses
forging
that
my
we're
own pieces.
eyeing for a long time.
Master Tien Sail saw my work and offered to take me on as his apprentice. Only now, years on, do I realize the honor that was. Alas, my master perished in a massacre later, slain by racists. Though he taught me everything he knew, I did not manage to complete the guild's requirements for Grandmaster while he lived. I know I have no equal in the trade. Yet, until I complete Witcher armor of Grandmaster quality, I shall never be certain I've become my teacher's equal.
Interesting. So it's in some ways his life journey. Figure out if he can live up to the name of his master or his teacher. So let's see the diagrams. Tell me where to look for. Yeah, I mean that's the thing we're really looking for, right?
Where do I look for these diagrams?
I know of 5 likely fallen witches, each from a different school of the wolf, griffin, cat, bear, and manticore.
Manticore. That's
Which
new.
should
We
I
haven't heard of
start
that
with?
before. Start with Manticore, because we have not heard of them previously. So, like, we know Griffin School, or let's start, Cat School is the armor that we've used most regularly during our playthrough. That's the light armor, that's a large reason why we've done it, and also, we like the attack power, has been pretty sweet. We experimented a bit with the Griffin School armor, which is medium armor, which is... I like getting the stamina back quickly for our signs, so it's not bad for that, but it's somewhat noticeable, the difference. And then what wasn't very noticeable, though, was the sign intensity bonuses that we were supposedly getting from having that armor on. Could barely tell the difference in that regard. Then Bear School was heavy armor. We never tried it. Because, again, that would be the most extreme from a stamina requirement standpoint, or at least limiting stamina recovery standpoint. So that was seemingly the worst fit for what we were trying to do playstyle-wise. Wolf School was sort of a middle ground. A little bit of all the aspects of the other schools. And Manticore, like I said, never heard of it. I suppose that means it's new for Toussaint. So let's see what that's all about.
School of the Manticore. Probably know the least about it. Though
My
once,
thoughts
long
exactly.
ago, wore some armor forged there.
Apparently we
My
did.
master said the Manticores have their fortress in the far east. A century past, one of their number came to him, a witcher named Merton. He made a poor impression on my master.
Jordan looks different
He stank
when you're wearing
like
Grandmaster.
a
That's
dwarf
cool.
Still, and quarreled fiercely all the time. Tien Sail slammed the door in his face and told him to return when he sobered up. He would conduct no business with a drunk. The Witcher, however, failed to return. Folk say he got into a booze-fueled brawl with the ducal guard. He was arrested and sentenced.
It wasn't even the powerful monster that did it.
Where he was held, well, it's been a ruin for years. Still, you may want to start your search there.
Okay, I'm surprised it's Manticore and not Viper School, because we got some stuff from the Viper School previously, but that's been the most inconsistent. Like, we got a diagram for it very early on for Viper School sword, then went almost the entirety of the game without hearing or seeing anything from Viper School again, and then in Gaunter's Nightmare Mirror World, we saw I forget what the quality, I think it was Master, not Grandmaster, but Master quality, which we're actually using for our current Silver Sword, which was quite good, but it suddenly made this random reappearance, so I'm surprised that is not the new edition. Instead, we're getting Manticore. Alright, let's go. Shouldn't matter much from here on out, I don't think.
Tell me more about the bear, can you?
He appeared shortly after Master Tiensail took me on as his apprentice. I remember the bear-head medallion that hung from his neck. I remember a towering witcher who haggled like a fishwife.
Witchers never have too much coin.
True, this one clearly was not wealthy. But he pledged to bring us coin after he completed a contract at the Tufo vineyard, where a building had just collapsed. Time passed. The bear never showed, and my master sent me to the Tufo estate. As it turned out, the Witcher had indeed accepted a job. Yet that was all they heard of him, and that is all I know.
Okay, so we just check out that area. Gotcha. Wolf School? Sure.
Tell me about my brother, the wolf.
That's true.
His name was Aton. I remember him well. My master liked him.
Surprised we wouldn't have known him then.
A safe, yet well-paid contract.
So are all Wolf School Witchers originally trained at Kaer Morhen, or are there other places where they get trained? Otherwise, I would have thought at some point we would have crossed paths with this guy.
They questioned my master about
and potentially
elfin rules
spent a significant
and
amount of time with him.
He warned them of the danger there and recommended they take Aton as an escort.
What kind of danger did he mean? Any idea?
Legend claims wraiths haunt the chambers beneath Termus. I cannot say if there is any truth to this, but both the scholars and the Witcher disappeared without a trace.
Yeah, that just seems very strange, because I thought that every Wolf School Witcher went to Kaer Morhen, and then if this guy learned about these things from... If this guy actually met that Witcher, then that means that it happened recently, and that means that this Witcher was alive recently, and so therefore, presumably, was at Kaer Morhen recently. How would Geralt not know this guy? It's just there seems to be little to no reason why they would not at least know each other, if not have spent a significant amount of time together, potentially even gone through, extensive Witcher training or whatnot with each other. That just seems a little bit odd. But anyways, suppose, it's a minor thing, so it's not that big a deal. It's a little odd.
The Griffin. What can you tell me about him?
Yeah, maybe he is older and left Kaer Morhen before Geralt, but even then, Geralt's pretty old himself. Presumably they would have crossed paths at some point, right?
Stripped of emotions, you see, as his colleagues were. He had taken on a contract at Fort Usa and required better gear. He showed my master his diagrams, paid a deposit, and was never seen again. Apparently he rode off one night from the fort, never to return.
Any idea where he went?
No.
The Commonwealth?
It said he left in a rush, so he may have left something behind. Only ruins remain of Fort Usa, but you may wish to search them.
Okay. And lastly, the cat school stuff, which I think is probably the one that we are most likely to... we will definitely make the cat school gear. It's probably the one that we are most likely to use the most as well. Griffin school probably second most likely. We'll probably make that, and then we'll see if we want to actually use... we'll test it out at the very least, I would think. Manticore, I have no idea. That's the wild card. Wolf school, if we have a lot of money left over, then maybe we will. But if these things are really expensive, then that may not be feasible. Because, you know, it may cost us a whole lot to craft all these versions of the Grandmaster gear. Then Bear School, I think we are very unlikely to make it. Unless we just have so much money that we quite literally don't know what else to do with it. In which case, we'll throw money at this guy and say, make us all of the armors. But we'll see.
Let's talk about the cat.
A year ago,
Oh yeah, it's my
Bartolome
pet,
de
Fluffy.
Lone, the ducal armorer, asked me to confirm the authenticity of a Witcher diagram he had received by messenger. You see, at the time he was working on new armor for the ducal guard. A Witcher from the School of the Cat offered to sell him diagrams for a full set of gear. The diagrams would have been helpful indeed.
The diagram you saw, was it really a Witcher diagram?
Beyond any doubt.
It seems kind of weird that a random messenger would have this Grandmaster diagram.
I was quite shaken up, afraid the Witcher might simply kill him and take his coin. Possibly a well-founded fear. Soon after, Delaunay disappeared without a trace. I would have searched his former home for clues, but it has fallen into disrepair, and it is simply too dangerous there.
Okay, so that's all the information we can get about that stuff, but should mean that we now have all those things on our map, so as we're out exploring the greater Beauclair and general Toussaint area, hopefully we can make a point of stopping by those things every now and again whenever we find ourselves relatively close to one of them.
Farewell.
Good luck.
And we actually already have the Griffin stuff, I think. Not all of it, though. I think we have like 60% maybe. We'll get all the updates for it, and then we'll just take a look at our map to see where they are. Knight for Hire might be worth taking a look at as well. Okay, we'll give that one a check too.